Star Wars Jedi Survivor has some major connections back to the High Republic era of Star Wars, so today I'm going to run through a quick introduction to what that era is all about. I'll fill you in on specific connections from the game, and I'll give you a guide to exploring the High Republic for yourself if you think that part of the timeline sounds cool. The High Republic era spans about 400 years in the Star Wars universe. It begins about 500 years before the events of the game and ends around 100 years before the game. At that point, the Galactic Republic and the Jedi Order were both at their height of influence and idealism. It was a time of great expansion in the Outer Rim as teams of hyperspace prospectors and pathfinders charted new hyperspace routes. Planets along those routes would be offered aid and assistance, as well as a voice in the galactic government if they so wished. This was all happening about 5 centuries after the end of the Sith Wars, and while small planetary disputes popped up on occasion, it was a time of great peace and prosperity across the galaxy. In the game, the character Toa will mention Starlight Beacon in some of her dialogue. The space station was a symbol of the Republic's idealism and presence in the Outer Rim. Eno Cordova mentions Outer Rim marauders called the Nile, and we even see them appear to invade Tanalorr and battle the Jedi. They were similar to space Vikings, just roaming around their self-proclaimed territory, taking whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted. They opposed the Republic's expansion, and their leader, Marchion Ro, had a personal vendetta against the Jedi. His ancestors discovered terrifying, nameless creatures that fed off of Force users, and the Nile used them as weapons against their enemies. They also had a Force-sensitive captive named Mari Santeca, who was able to find new secret paths through hyperspace. Her calculations could only be used by special hyperdrives called path engines. It was technology unique to the Nile that allowed them to reach areas the Republic could not. That's likely how they found their way to Tanalorr in the game. Their use of path engines also allowed them to disrupt commonly used hyperlanes, and so they orchestrated the destruction of a transport ship as it traveled through hyperspace. Its debris entered real space at devastating speeds throughout the Outer Rim. Those events were called emergences and caused untold destruction. The maintenance droids in the game claim one such emergence destroyed Kobo's moon, shattering it into pieces. I would say that places most of Dagan Gera's story before the events of the first High Republic book, Light of the Jedi, which details the Jedi Order's first encounters with the Nile, the destruction of the transport ship, and the race to save several Outer Rim planets from the resulting emergences. It sounds like the Nile interrupted Dagan's plans for Tanalorr, and the Jedi prioritized dealing with the Marauders over establishing a new base. After Dagan was injured and put into the Bacta tank, an emergence destroyed Kobo's moon, and the Jedi completely evacuated the planet, stranding Dagan there for centuries. So that's everything you need to know connecting the game to the books and comics, but there is so much more to the story of the High Republic era. It's some of my personal favorite storytelling Star Wars publishing has done in years. For a while after the Disney acquisition, books seemed like they were supporting material to the movies and TV series, restricted from telling their own stories like in the Legends days, where we got series of books like X-Wing, The New Jedi Order, Fate of the Jedi, and so on. The High Republic delivers on what I had been missing from Star Wars books, telling one big connected story. So far, there have been 5 adult novels, 5 young adult novels, 5 middle grade books, 4 primary comic series, several spin-off comics, 2 audio dramas, 2 manga, and more. And the High Republic's success has led to its incorporation in stories like Star Wars Jedi Survivor, The Young Jedi Adventures, and the upcoming series The Acolyte, which I love to see, but it can absolutely be overwhelming. If the High Republic elements of Survivor piqued your interest, I would recommend simply starting with Light of the Jedi and see how it lands for you. If you like it, just keep reading the adult novels, The Rising Storm, The Fallen Star, Convergence, and Catalysm. If you love Light of the Jedi, you can try adding more into the mix. I would say reading the adult novels and the main Marvel comics will give you a pretty complete story, but reading everything the High Republic offers is truly a rewarding experience that's paying off in Star Wars outside of the publishing world. But that's all you need to know about the High Republic and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.